They always saw Jake Miller as just another biker on America's endless highways. Leather jacket faded by sun and rain, heavy boots caked with dust, and a roaring Harley that echoed through small town streets somewhere in Texas. People crossed the road when they saw him coming. Some whispered, others judged. And when they heard he had taken responsibility for a little girl, everyone said the same thing. "She'll be a burden." Jake heard those words more times than he could count, from old riding buddies at roadside diners, from strangers at gas stations, even from social workers who looked at his rough hands and sleepless eyes and wondered if he was capable of care. Jake never argued. He wasn't good with words. Life had taught him silence more than explanations. Years ago, Jake had lost everything. A bad accident, a broken family, and nights so lonely they felt louder than his motorcycle engine. Riding became his escape. The road didn't ask questions. It didn't judge. It just kept going. One cold evening, while riding through a small Arizona town, Jake stopped near a closed convenience store. That's when he heard a soft cry. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that feels forgotten. He followed the sound and found a little girl sitting on the curb, hugging a worn-out backpack. Her name was Lily. She had nowhere to go. Jake should have walked away. That's what everyone expected him to do. A biker with scars on his arms and pain in his eyes wasn't supposed to care. But something in Lily's trembling hands reminded him of himself, abandoned, scared, and unseen. That night, Jake wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and waited with her until help arrived. But when the hours passed and no one came, Jake made a decision that would change his life forever. He didn't understand bedtime stories or braided hair. He didn't know how to cook anything beyond diner food. Yet, for the first time in years, he felt needed, and that scared him more than any dark road ever had. When he decided to keep Lily with him temporarily, the criticism came fast. "You don't have a home. You're always on the road. A child needs stability." Jake nodded, listening quietly. Deep inside, doubt started to creep in. Maybe they were right. Maybe she deserved better than motel rooms and gas station breakfasts. Every night, as Lily slept beside him, he stared at the ceiling, wondering if love was enough. But Lily trusted him. She slept peacefully, holding onto his arm like it was the safest place in the world. And Jake realized something powerful. For the first time, he wasn't riding to escape life anymore. He was riding to protect it. The world saw a biker who couldn't settle down. But Lily saw a guardian. And Jake, without realizing it yet, was becoming a father. The first night Lily called him Dad, Jake didn't sleep at all. The word echoed in his head louder than any engine he had ever ridden. He sat on the edge of the motel bed, watching her chest rise and fall as she slept, her small hand curled tightly around his finger. Fear and warmth tangled inside him. He had never planned for this life, never imagined being the reason someone felt safe. As days turned into weeks, Jake's routine changed. The open road became shorter, the rides slower. He started choosing towns with schools instead of highways without exits. He traded late-night rides for early mornings, packing simple lunches and tying Lily's shoelaces with clumsy fingers. People still stared, but now there was something else in their eyes: curiosity, sometimes even respect. Money was tight, really tight. Jake took small mechanic jobs, fixed bikes, unloaded trucks, anything honest. Some nights he went to bed hungry so Lily could eat. When she noticed, she'd push her plate toward him and say, "We share, Dad." Each time his throat tightened. The social worker returned, this time with a folder full of questions. Jake expected judgment again. Instead, she watched as Lily ran to him after tripping, burying her face into his chest. Jake held her instinctively, rocking her until her sobs faded. The room fell quiet. That moment said more than any paperwork ever could. "They told me she'd be a burden," Jake finally said, his voice low and steady. "But I can't sleep without her in my arms." Those words surprised even him. Life wasn't suddenly perfect. There were still nightmares, Lily's and his. Some nights she woke up crying, afraid he'd disappear like everyone else had. Jake would pull her close, whispering promises he once thought he couldn't keep, and every morning he kept them. Slowly, Lily began to heal. She laughed more. She drew pictures of motorcycles with hearts on them. At school, she told her classmates her dad was the strongest man in the world. Jake pretended not to hear, but he carried those words with him everywhere. One afternoon, Jake sold his bike. The sound of the engine leaving his life felt like losing an old friend. But when he used the money to put a down payment on a small trailer near a quiet town, something inside him settled. Freedom, he realized, wasn't about endless roads anymore. It was about staying. Years later, Jake still wore his leather jacket, though it was softer now, worn by time and hugs. Lily still fell asleep in his arms on stormy nights, the only place she felt completely safe. The world had been wrong. She was never a burden. She was the reason he finally learned how to rest.